What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the 2024 Chevy Equinox EV 3RS all-wheel drive. So I've already taken a look at the front-wheel drive version of the Equinox EV. If you're interested, I'll have it linked down in the description. But this is the top-of-the-line 3RS all-wheel drive. So it's got the dual motor configuration. It's in this beautiful riptide blue metallic color. Really accentuates the contrast points on the vehicle, which we'll take a look at throughout this entire video. So starting here up front, you've got these really low profile LED running lights here, and it works its way across the front of the vehicle in this light bar configuration. You also have an illuminated Chevy bow tie here, and your actual high beams and main beams are down here below in this separate portion. You almost can't see them at all, but they are down here. And then you've got a little bit of carbon fiber that works its way across the front of the grille here, front facing camera here that works with your HD surround vision, some RS badging here, and then you have this textured kind of diamond pattern on the front grille that acts as a faux grille because you don't really need a grille on an EV, although you do have some active air pass through here to help cool the battery off, and a radar down here as well. Some more passive air vents over here, and then you've got some really nice aggressive ground effects down at the bottom. But overall, it's a very sporty and aggressive looking front end here on the RS trim. Now, as far as performance goes, you have a couple different options, but they're both powered by the same 85 kilowatt hour Ultium propulsion battery pack. There's the front wheel drive variant that's going to have a single motor, 213 horsepower, 236 pound-feet of torque, 319 miles of range. And then you have this version, the dual motor all-wheel drive, so a motor in the front, motor in the back, going to combine for 288 horsepower, 333 pound-feet of torque, 285 miles of range. So you gain a little power, lose a little range. It's typically how it goes in the vehicle space, but again, both powered by that 85 kilowatt hour battery pack. Now, one thing you're not going to have on any variant of the Equinox EV is a frunk. So if we lift the hood here, you're going to get access to your fluids, your battery, and then one of your two electric motors here. So don't touch any of the orange wires. It's a good rule of thumb when dealing with electric cars. No storage up here in the front, although you do get a decent amount of storage in the back. I really would have liked to see Chevy add a frunk option here on the Equinox. So still the only Chevy EV that has a frunk is the Silverado currently. No frunk on the Blazer EV, no frunk on the Equinox EV, no frunk on the Bolt, although maybe next gen we'll see a frunk on the Bolt, but right now, just on the Silverado EV. But if we work our way here around the sides, you get a little bit of black contrast cladding. It's not plastic, it's just body colored element, but a nice contrast point there. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of blue, but I really like riptide blue metallic, and I think the blue and black contrast is super nice looking. The only thing that would make it better is if this were red. But it does sit on these absolutely massive 21-inch gloss black wheels. They're a 5-spoke design, very open, very sporty. But I've said this before, I really think Chevy would be able to squeeze a lot more range out of the Equinox EV if these wheels were smaller. If you had a 19 or 18-inch option on the Equinox, I think you could get a ton more range. But unfortunately, giant 21-inch, they look great, range suffers quite a bit in my opinion. Now inside here, we have our charge port. So you've got an 11.5 kilowatt onboard AC charger. If you remove the plug, you get access to the DC fast charging port, up to 150 kilowatt DC fast charging, and Chevy says you can get about 70 miles in 10 minutes. Now we've got some Equinox EV badging down here, a little bit of a black contrast piece at the bottom with a satin chrome accent. Now up top here, you've got some black contrast mirror caps. Again, they pop real nicely with this blue paint color. They're manual folding, but you do have heating, blind spot monitoring built in, and then the camera up underneath that works with that HD surround vision system. Now you may have already noticed this, but we do have a contrast roof here. So you've got this nice black roof option here paired with this beautiful blue color. Standard, you can get just a regular body colored roof. You know, it'll match your paint around the rest of the vehicle, but there are two contrast roof options. One is a Summit white roof. Now this is gonna be able to be paired with LT models. So you want the 1LT, 2LT, 3LT, you can get the Summit white roof. Now, if you want this black roof like we have here on this 3RS, you're gonna have to get an RS trim. So here on the 3RS, we have the black roof. You can get it down on the 2RS as well. So some interesting kind of contrast points, so you can kind of tell what type of Equinox somebody is driving around depending on what color contrast roof they have. And while this specific model does not have a sunroof, you can add on a dual pane panoramic sunroof for $1,500. But this one does have black roof rails up top to match. black trim around the windows here, which I much prefer over chrome. And then down here, you have these really cool self-presenting door handles here. So you can see they're in their presentation mode here. You can grab it, open the door just like that, and then you can use keyless access to just push that little pad there. They're gonna fold right in for you. If you walk out of range and then back within range, they are gonna open back up for you, but you can also click them in like this and they'll pop out, which is a really nice feature that I haven't seen on any other self-presenting handles up until this point. So really cool design on those handles. Now moving to the back of the Equinox EV, you'll notice that black roof continues into this little spoiler to help keep maybe a little bit off your back windshield, but the back windshield does kind of stick out pretty far, so you have this wiper here to help with that. You got tinted rear glass here, and you have kind of this little extra spoiler shelf looking body colored piece, which is a really nice accent piece. And you've got your Chevy bow tie and your LED tail lights, nicely kind of sculpted three-dimensional tail lights that kind of scoop around the body. Then they come into these little segmented pieces here, which I really like. The stance is so cool at night. You've got it on both sides to kind of make this whole unified, almost light bar in the back, but it's kind of segmented. So I don't know if I can really call it a full light bar. You've got your Equinox EV badge and your all-wheel drive badging that's blacked out. I think that's really nice. It adds some nice contrast. And then you have your red RS badging here, which again, I like. And pretty much nothing else down here. It's pretty empty, just a body-colored sheet here. Then you've got a little kind of faux grille accent to mirror what we've got going on in the front. You've got your rear camera with a sprayer. You've got some ultrasonic sensors here, little body-colored accent at the bottom with your reflectors, and then a nice kind of diffuser at the bottom as well. You do also have an auto sense tailgate, so you can kind of walk within range when you've got stuff in your hands and it will automatically open up, or you can push the button underneath here. It'll go ahead and raise up for you. Now here in the cargo area, they give you your dual level charging cable here. This is your special Ultium branded one, but it is just a J1772 adapter still on one end, and then you have interchangeable ends that you can put either 120 volt or 240 volt, depending on what you need. And then if we move that out of the way, you can see all of this cargo carrying capability back here. 26 cubic feet of cargo space with the second row seats up. If you fold those down, 57 cubic feet of cargo space. You've got some LED lights back here, room for a cargo shade, room for a cargo net. You got a 12 volt outlet as well, and you've got some underfloor storage here, so you can keep your dual level charging cable down here out of the way if you want to. You've got a towing eye back here, just a little bit of underfloor storage here. No spare tire that I can see, but some pretty nice cargo carrying capability still. Let's go ahead and hop inside the cabin. All right, so I'll hop in here inside the cabin of the 2024 Equinox 3RS. A couple things stand out, obviously. First and foremost, these massive displays, but this is going to be basically standard across the board on all the Equinox models, so not really that different there. But the cabin materials to me still don't justify that $50,000 price tag. You have a lot of just black plastic all the way across. Everything down here is plastic, everything down here is plastic. We're talking about an Equinox, right? It's still an Equinox EV, so it's a little bit higher end, but we're still talking about something that people are going to be mainly lugging around kids, maybe a first car. So I'm going to try really hard to not complain too much about the cabin materials, but it does drive me crazy that you can get vehicles at much lower price points that have much nicer interior materials. That is what it is. I'll try and ignore that for now, but let's talk about the materials nonetheless. Soft touch a little bit on the door panels here. Then you have this plastic here. It's kind of a silver accented plastic with some ambient lighting details over here on the side, and it kind of transitions into this little red accent piece as well, which I think is nice. The only thing I wish they kind of would have done with this is make it kind of body color specific. So with this Riptide blue, maybe had it be Riptide blue instead of red. I prefer the red anyway, so I'm fine with it. Then like I said, outside of this little textured piece here, which is kind of like a rubber material, it's basically hard black plastic all the way down. That soft touch kind of continues across the dash, although it gets a little bit plasticky up top, a little bit more accent silver pieces with some more ambient lighting, and then basically hard black plastic all the way down. Outside of the center console where you have some more of that textured rubber material, same as what you have on top of the armrest here. I really like though that they went with this satin gray instead of the gloss black. Huge fan of that, although there still is a little bit of glossy material here that can get dusty and fingerprinty, as you can see here. One other thing I really like is the design of the vents here. They're a nice kind of silver plastic here, and they have this pivoting internal piece that you can twist to lock or unlock, and then pivot all the way around so you can point that airflow wherever you need it. Now over on the left side here, you have an electronic parking brake, your lane keep, auto vehicle hold, your trunk opening button, and then the brightness adjustment for your massive displays here. Then you have this gigantic Chevy steering wheel here. You've got your advanced cruise control options on the left side, and then all of your media control options on the right side, plus your heated steering wheel button, RS badging, accent stitching on this leather wrapped steering wheel, black Chevy bow tie in the center. Now you can get Super Cruise as an option, and it's interesting that it's not here on this super high-end 3RS, but you can add it there as an option if you want it. You do have your region on demand paddle or button on the back of the steering wheel, and you have a combo light and wiper stalk on the left side, and then you have your little shift stalk on the right side, and this is basically what every new Chevy vehicle has. It's a push button for park, pull back for neutral, pull back and up for reverse, and pull back and down for drive. So if you buy a new Chevy in 2024 and beyond, you're most likely going to have this shift stalk. Now past the steering wheel, you're going to have one of two large displays here. This is an 11-inch driver infotainment display. They're the same Chevy styling. It's powered by Google, so everything, all the bones of the system are Google based, but it has a very specific design language, and Chevy is using these display combinations in various sizes, but most of the time this configuration in almost all of their new vehicles, whether ICE or EV. So this 11-inch display has some customizable views just based on what vehicle information you want to see. There's a full screen Google map if you want it. You can see a little bit more clean with your driver assistance features on it. And then there's a super clean empty design that I prefer, and you can get to that one too if you want to. So very customizable there for the driver information display. And then over here you have a massive 17.7-inch driver infotainment display, again powered by Google. So you've got the Play Store, Google Assistant, Google Maps, you've got Alexa built in, you've got Google Podcasts, Google News. The one thing you do not have that's a huge omission is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So if you want that, you got to go with the non-EV version of the Equinox to get that. You have your My Chevrolet app, you've got Wi-Fi hotspot built in, AM, FM, Sirius XM radio, a full camera menu with that 360-degree HD surround vision, on-screen climate control, ambient lighting, full charging menu, different drive modes. I mean, this thing is loaded up with features. Inside of the charging menu, you can set a schedule, you can precondition the battery, you can set a home charging location. Inside of the climate control, you can adjust basically everything. It is nice that you have on-screen climate controls as well as physical climate controls down below for those that prefer that. Ambient lighting, like I mentioned, that you can fully customize, brightness and color. You can also link it to your drive mode if you want to, and it's gonna pop up over here above the glove box and then over here on the sides of the door panels. Inside of drive modes, you've got normal, sport, snow and ice, and then my mode, which you can completely customize. You can even turn on your one pedal mode inside of that menu. And then if we go inside the camera menu, we can see our standard front-facing camera, our top-down hood cam basically, and then you can look at your rear camera as well as the sides and your hitch view. You've got two vents down below that, and then like I said, your physical climate controls, and your climate control system is a dual zone climate control system. Down below that, you've got a little pad for storage, two cup holders, two USB-C charging ports. You have this little spot where you can put your phone, and then this armrest is kind of interesting. It folds up this way. You've got a little tray inside of here, nice deep pocket with an LED light in there. I don't think there's any ports. No, there aren't any ports. Since this is the shift-by-wire system, you have this big opening for additional storage and another 12-volt outlet. Standard glove box over here on the right. Up top, you have a pretty simple auto-dimming rear view mirror. Now, interestingly, some of the other models we looked at had a rear view mirror camera up here. I've been on a couple like Equinox forums for the EV version, and people have said that they're not actually going to make models with the rear view mirror camera. So if you got one that had it, you kind of have a special model. I think they just decided it wasn't cost effective. I don't really know what the reason is, or maybe they're just not doing it in this model year. Maybe it'll come next year or something like that. Maybe it's a parts issue, who knows. Even on this top of the line model for $50,000, you just have a standard auto dimming rear view mirror, nothing fancy, nothing special. So if you do have one that has the rear view mirror camera, good for you. Got some OnStar buttons up top, some LED dome lights, black liner. Now, as far as the seating surfaces go, these are a two-tone seating surface. They're Chevy's EvoTex seating surface. So it's a synthetic leather with some cloth accent pieces here on the back and then also on the butt bolster area. You've got some red piping, some white contrast stitching, and then blue and red contrast stitching on the back. These are just the black seating surfaces with the red accents, but you can also get all red seating surfaces, which look really nice. Little RS badging on the headrest as well. And these are heated and ventilated seats. The driver is an 8-way power adjustable with 4-way lumbar, and the passenger is a 6-way power adjustable with 2-way lumbar, and the driver has position memory. All right, so hopping here into the second row seats, you'll notice how much legroom we actually have. I maybe had this seat a little bit further up than I'd normally sit, but even then, I mean, I've got like, what, 6, 8, 10 inches of rear leg room here. And if I were to scoot that back a little bit, maybe to where this seat is, I'd still have, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches of rear leg room. So tons of leg room. You can tuck your feet up underneath. Got a map pocket back here. You got good headroom with the roof that kind of slopes up right here. You've got rear vents, 2 USB-C ports for charging. You've got heated outboard seats back here, hooks back here, some lights as well. Only real negative back here is just the door panel materials, but again, as a passenger, you know, who really cares about that? The seats are pretty comfortable as well. Some nice padding, some nice bolstering. They do not recline though. That would be nice, but no option there. But you do have this center armrest that folds out, 2 additional cup holders, and your little armrest. Very comfortable back here, plenty of space, and it is a relatively small SUV, so to have this much second row volume, it's pretty great. As far as safety goes, this has enhanced automatic emergency braking, forward collision alert, front pedestrian and bicyclist braking, follow distance indicator, IntelliBeam auto high beam, safety alert seats, which means the seats kind of vibrate to let you know when you're getting close to obstacles, rear cross traffic braking, blind zone steering assist, reverse automatic braking, intersection automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, side bicyclist alert, and that HD surround vision. All right, let's take the Equinox EV 3RS all-wheel drive for a little test drive. Now, I've driven the all-wheel drive and the front-wheel drive now a little bit. I made a video over on my tech channel when the Equinox EV first came out back in May. I'm a little bit familiar, but it has been a minute. So let's go ahead and switch it to sport mode. Why not? We've got the horsepower, may as well use it. Now the 0 to 60 with the all-wheel drive model is about 5.8 seconds, which is very similar to my Tesla, whereas the front-wheel drive is like 7.7 seconds maybe. So pretty significant acceleration boost here on the all-wheel drive. So we can definitely test that out and just go to the floor here. So no like kind of thrust back from the acceleration, but you still go. Like the speed is still definitely there, but you don't have as much punch as I expected, which is interesting because I've definitely driven this before and I remember it having punch, but I think what I remember is it having punch at speed. So if you're like at 45 and then yeah, there you go. So off the line, not a ton of punch, but when you're actually going and you're up to speed, you can definitely get a little boost and it'll give you the full kilowatts. 224 or whatever that was. Crazy. Plenty fun to drive. Again, around 288 horsepower, 333 pound-feet of torque. So plenty of punch, plenty quick, especially if you're coming from the ICE Equinox. I actually reviewed the brand new 2025 combustion engine version of the Equinox. It's been redesigned. It looks more like a baby Traverse now. So if you want to check that out, I'll have it linked down below. That has a 1.5 liter turbo. Not fun to drive, guys. Not fun. Efficient, sure, sort of, but not fun to drive. This, fun to drive, especially comparatively. Now that we're cruising, we can get a dB test at city speeds. Right around 64 dB, maybe 66 dB. I do like that you can go into my mode and change everything and customize it. So how I would set it is sport steering, sport braking, definitely sport acceleration, but I would turn motor sound off. So now when you accelerate, there's just no fake piped in motor sound. It is wonderful. If you're like me and you really hate fake EV motor sounds and you just want it to be quiet and quick, go in there, do a custom mode and turn off that acceleration sound or that motor sound. So much better in my opinion. But while we're cruising here, we can talk about a couple things that I like and a couple things that I don't like about the Equinox EV here. Now again, this is the basically top of the line trim, but let's start with the things that I really do like. First and foremost, I really like the exterior design of the Equinox. I think it's really sharp. I think it's attractive. I think they did a really good job, and I wish that the combustion engine version modeled itself more after the EV version than what they actually went with. So it's a really nice design, very low profile, very slim design on the headlights and all of the little accent pieces. I think they did a really nice job with it. Secondly, love having a ventilated seat. Huge props to Chevy for giving you ventilated seats on the Equinox. Not something you always get, even at this price point, so the fact that they have it is really, really nice. And the third thing that I really like about the Equinox is that it just has a really spacious second row seat. It's always a give and take whether you have a really good cargo volume or really good passenger volume, especially when you're dealing with a kind of a subcompact SUV like the Equinox here. But I think they did a nice job. You know, the trunk with the second row seats up is not huge at 26, 27 cubic feet. Up to 57 cubic feet is pretty great, and being able to use that if you need to, or if you don't need that, folding it up and getting that really nice rear seat volume. It's hard to beat that in something that's this size. Now let's talk about three things that I don't care for as much. First and foremost is just the overall look of the interior. This is kind of the standard modern Chevy interior. You know, you've got some pretty low-end plastic materials. You've got your big displays here and here. I don't mind the displays as much. I think they look nice. They're driver-centric. They're modern. You get some nice storage still. It's just overall the quality of the materials. Again, I said I wasn't going to complain too much about it, so I've limited myself to just a couple sentences here and there about it. For $50,000, not the nicest materials. I swear I see a Cybertruck every time I'm in this little spot right here. To be fair, there's a Tesla service center right here, so that's probably why. But I have reviewed the Cybertruck. If you want to check that out, I'll have it linked down in the description. Second thing that I don't care for as much is that even on the top of the line model here, you don't have any real well-rounded and branded sound system. I don't even know what it is. It doesn't even say it on the window sticker. And you know it's bad when the sound system isn't mentioned on the window sticker. And I think we have another Equinox EV right behind us. What are the chances of that? Let's see if we can get a little interaction with them back here. I haven't seen one of these things on the road so far, and we have one right behind us, right in the middle of filming this video. They don't want to pull up next to us though. We can use our cruise control over here. Again, no Super Cruise, but I have taken a look at Super Cruise on the Equinox EV, and I've compared it to Tesla's Autopilot, and I'll have those linked down below. Yeah, they didn't want to come up next to us, so we'll just go ahead and blast out of here. So plenty of speed on the highway, like no issues with passing, no issues with getting up to speed. If you want the fastest off-the-line speeds, you're not looking at an Equinox EV anyway. Plenty of ability on the highway. You don't feel like you're underpowered at all. We made eye contact. It was a little meet cute with the Equinox EVs here. I'm sure you're gonna be seeing these things all over the place. We have had probably like 15 or 20 on our lot already, and we just cycle through them like crazy. So people are definitely buying these. But anyway, back to the sound system. For $50,000, you should be getting a well-made, feature-rich, name brand sound system in the Equinox EV. And you don't. You just have speakers, and it's not on the window sticker. Not good. It should be here on this top of the line model, standard. And then I have to say, my third thing that I don't care for is the fact that they got rid of the rearview mirror camera, and it's not on all the models. I guess it's a parts issue, I'm not really sure. I just wish that that was standard because it would pair really nicely with the 360-degree HD surround vision. And for one little bonus thing, speaking of that HD surround vision, they need to update those cameras because they do not look great. They don't really look like HD, even though the window sticker says it is. But now that I've driven the front-wheel drive version and the all-wheel drive version of the Equinox EV, which one do I lean towards recommending to you guys? 100% the all-wheel drive version. It's not even close. Like, I understand why they make the front-wheel drive version more affordable, decent bit better range, I guess. I mean, almost like 40 miles better range, close to that. I get why they do it, but I don't think that justifies the lack of enjoyment in the driving experience between the front-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive version. It's such a big difference. I mean, just having that little jolt of power and being able to get up to speed and pass, and just having that all-wheel drive also. And if you live in climates that are a little bit rougher, whether that's snow, ice, rainy, slick climates, different things like that, where you need that all-wheel drive, that's great too. But you know, in Louisville here, we don't have that as much. You know, we don't have crazy varying, very dramatic weather. So all-wheel drive isn't entirely necessary. It is nice to have, and I would take the performance of the all-wheel drive over the little bit of increased range on the front-wheel drive version any day. Now, price-wise, the Equinox is pretty expensive at $50,000 pre-tax credit. You can get the tax credit, $7,500 off of that, and get it down somewhere in like that 43, 42-ish range. And you know, that's still gonna be a decent bit more expensive than the highest priced gas-powered Equinox, which I think starts around $35,000. So you're talking, you know, $7,000 to $8,000 more expensive for the gas version. That's pretty standard when it comes to EVs versus gas powered. Batteries are expensive, and until we find a way to lower the cost of battery production or make batteries more efficient or, recycle them more effectively, I don't know, there's plenty of things that we could do to get that price down. The gas powered version is typically speaking always going to be cheaper than the electric version. Like I mentioned, performance wise, there's really no contest. It's EV all the way. Oh, and let's get a quick DB test at idle. So about 47 dB. So I would definitely recommend you guys go out and test drive an Equinox EV for yourself to really get a feel for it. But like I said, these things are flying off of our lots, and we have a ton of them in stock. If you guys are interested, I'll have them linked down below to our specific dealership. If you're in the Kentuckiana area and want to check one of these things out, come test drive this specific model for yourself. You definitely can. The biggest thing I'd like to see improved for $43,000 or $50,000 if you don't qualify for the tax credit is just improved materials on the interior. But again, not going to complain, so I'll stop there. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this 2024 Chevy Equinox 3RS all-wheel drive. Let's talk about it down in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be one of the first to see every single new video the second I hit publish. We'll see you in the next one. So this is the... Wow, that is 1,000 degrees. Wouldn't recommend touching the contrast black roof in the middle of the summer.